Hey, my name is Lord Surtr, and this is the full level 4 solo security mission tier list. So there are 110 ships in this list, so I will make my intro a little bit faster than usual. If you need the fits or any details or any other information, Twitch, Discord or anything else, it will be down in the description below. I will also put timestamps there to make it a little easier. So there are a few terms and conditions that do apply here. So this is based on my testing, which I have done as objective as possible for solo level 4 security missions. Fits that I came up with and used are a reasonable price. I have used no more than 3 warpouts. No implants were used in the testing, and these fits obviously do not apply to burners. But if you want to fly these in fleets or in groups, they all work, and some other fits as well. So let's get right into it. It's gonna be a very long one. Alright, so here we are. There's a lot of ships in this one, as you can see right there. I'm gonna go over them a little faster than in the specific tier lists. There's a lot more to cover here. So I will start in the F tier with the Stormbringer. So that would be this one. The Stormbringer is a faction cruiser. It's essentially a chain lightning ship. It's a photon projector, hits many targets at once. The negative about this ship is it does not have enough single target DPS to kill every single mission NPC. There are a few that it cannot kill. So I will have to put this in the F tier. F for fail. So this is the only ship in the F tier. Then I'm going to move straight up to D tier. And in the D tier, the first one I find is the Damnation. The Damnation is a command ship, a Amar command ship, and the reason it's so low is the DPS is just not good. It's a slow ship, low DPS, good tank, very tough, skill requirements are high, so it will be a long time before you complete the mission. I would say heavy missiles with this one. If you put heavy assault missiles on this one, you would have to go micro warp drive and change the entire fit. Yeah, I would not run missions with the Damnation. The next one in the D tier would be the Harbinger, which would be a Tech 1 battlecruiser. Now this one is set up as a sniper. It's basically a beam laser sniper with a jump drive to get the hell out, because the negatives are, of course, weak tank. So you want to be able to get the hell out. So low skill requirements, beam, micro jump drive, afterburner fit is what I went with. But my conclusion for this one is it's technically better at level 3s than level 4. So then we have the Oracle. The Oracle is an attack battlecruiser. This thing has very good DPS, very good range. I would put a micro jump drive on this to move around. Weak tank, no drones to deal with any frigates. So medium skill requirements and essentially a beam long range sniper or a pulse medium range kiter. Not the best for missions, but it will complete missions. Next up would be the Galdari battlecruiser, the Ferox, right here, this one. So the Ferox is a Tech 1 battlecruiser, and I essentially use this one similar to the Harbinger. This will be a railgun sniper, afterburner, micro jump drive again to get the hell out. Weak tank, low skill requirements, and also I do believe this one might be better suited for level 3s. Will still complete level 4s if you have a lot of patience. So the next one would be the Naga. So the Naga is another attack battlecruiser, the Kaldari attack battlecruiser. So this thing has also good DPS and excellent range. Probably the best range out of all of them. This has a weak tank, bad tracking, and no drones to deal with frigates. So this needs to be at range, and hence it kinda needs to jump drive. Skill requirements would be medium. You are using battleship guns on this. And you want at least some tank on this. So this is a real sniper with a micro jump drive. This is the ultimate sniper. If stuff gets close, this thing runs. Then we have a very unique ship. This is the only electronic warfare battleship in game. Scorpion. Now, this ship has absolutely no bonuses for PvE. All its bonuses are like ECM and electronic warfare. That is its role. So, take one battleship. I could not find any positives. It has very low DPS because it has 0 bonuses for it. Skill requirements are low. It's a Tech 1 battleship. I used a passive shield tank with cruise missiles. It has many mid slots, so easy to put a passive tank on here. Average tank, low DPS for a battleship. Just go Raven. Just fly a Raven. Don't use this. Next up would be the Tech 1 battlecruiser, the Hurricane. So the Hurricane is a fantastic artillery platform. Don't use this with autocannons for level 4 missions. You're gonna be too close to the enemy and your tank will not hold. Weak tank on this. It's great with artillery though. The alpha is also very satisfying. Low skill requirements, and artillery sniper fit with micro jump drive is the way to fit this. This will be good at level 3s, but slow and weak for level 4s. And then we have our first pirate cruiser, the Ashimo. And the Ashimo it's a pirate cruiser essentially. It has an absolutely epic web range, that is the bonus, and infinite NOS, so infinite capacitor that it can suck out of your enemy. Even if the enemy doesn't have any, you can still act as if they did. So this has a weak tank and short range, because this does not fit beams. You can try, but you'll have to sacrifice almost all of your tank. So, not worth it. Medium skill requirements, I would say, and the only fit that I was able to get working was a Pulse 10MN coarse armor tank. So this has a weak tank, good utility with the NOS and web bonuses, decent DPS, and this is not a ship for new players. If you fly this, you want to have the skills. And even then, it's only going to perform average at best. And there's another pirate cruiser that goes into the D tier, which is to my great sadness, essentially, because I love this ship. It's a Cinnabon. I tried. I really tried. So this thing has absolutely fantastic DPS with autocannons. Very good speed also, but it has a weak tank for brawling, and autocannons do force it in close. Artillery DPS is too low. So medium skill requirements, and the autocannon 10MN shield tank fit is the only one that I would run. It can do it. You might want to warp out in the hardest missions though, like a few times. So this is good DPS and fun to fly, but the tank is a little too weak for all the level 4s. Again, this is only for solo in group everything can change. Next up we have the first recon ship, the Arazu. Now where is this thing on the list? So many ships here. So many ships. Yeah, right here. 110 ships on the list. So the Arazu is a force recon cruiser, so that would mean that it's the one that cloaks in warp. Overtop's cloak he can fit. Not useful for missions. The only positives I found were Tech 2 resistances. So this has a weak tank and low DPS even with blasters at short range. Skill requirements are high, because you cannot have bad shield skills with this. Yes, I had to shield tank this, and it will most definitely die with bad skills. I had to shield tank it because essentially DPS is so low that you cannot get away with an armor tank. You need all the slots for DPS increases. So blaster 10 MN, shield tank fit. Conclusion, weak, not fun to fly, avoid. Then we have the other one, the Lachesis. Now this thing only differs in terms of fitting and performance for level 4 missions, specifically in its slot layout, and there's a difference on the mid slots, and that's it. So this is a combat recon ship. This is essentially doesn't show up on directional scan. Only positives are the Tech 2 resistances, weak tank, low DPS, even with blasters at short range. High skill requirements, blaster 10 MN shield tank fit for the same reasons as before. Conclusion, also weak, not fun to fly, avoid. These two performed exactly the same, equally bad. And then we move up to the Falcon. Now, the Falcon is a worst Caldari recon ship for missions. So here it is. There we go. We already go for the second line. The Falcon. So force recon ship can warp cloaked. Tech 2 resistances positive. The negatives are essentially weak tank and the lowest DPS of all the recon ships, even with blasters. High skill requirements. Blaster 10 MN shield tank fit. My conclusion for this is same as before, weak, not fun to fly, please avoid. Then we move on to another recon ship, starting to see a theme here, the Rapier. Yeah, I need to watch it, I'm showing everything because the list is just so long. The Rapier is a force recon ship, so it warps cloaked, Tech 2, Tier 2 resistances, weak tank, low DPS. The heavy assault missiles are actually decent-ish if your skills are high enough. So very high skill requirements. The heavy assault missile 100 MN shield tank fit is the only one I would even try. Again, weak, not fun to fly, avoid. And then we have the last one for the D tier. That would be the other recon ship. I'm gonna pronounce this wrong probably, the Hugin or Hugin. You can correct me down below. Combat recon ship, so it doesn't show up on directional scan. Positives, Tech 2 resistances, and actually good short range autocannon DPS. Problem with the short range autocannon DPS is the fact that it needs to be in short range. So the tank is weak. You have to go brawling with this with a weak tank. So skill requirements are of course high. And the autocannon 10 meganewton, 10 MN afterburner shield tank fit is the only one I would suggest. Weak, not fun to fly, avoid. So that brings us finally to C tier. which I call average. Like F and D tiers I call weak. C tier I would say is for me average. Now the first one there would be the Caliente attack battlecruiser, the Talos. Give me... It's hard trying to fit everything on the screen. So the Talos. This Talos has good DPS and very important here, this is why it is also in C tier. It has a full flight of light drones. Now this ship is actually very versatile. You can armor tank this, you can shield tank this. You can fit it with rails, and yes, for the ones with higher skills, blasters are also an option. Fun to fly. The negatives are the tank's only average, which is already amazing for an attack battlecruiser. Skill requirements I would say are medium, and with blasters I would go for medium to high. So shield rails, armor blasters or armor rails. I wouldn't go shield blasters, that doesn't work out so well. A very versatile ship with many fitting options, and yes, this can brawl with higher skills or snipe with rails. And the Tornado is the other one that actually makes it up to C tier. So the Tornado is an attack battlecruiser. This has good DPS and decent tracking, even with battleship size autocannons. This has an absolutely epic alpha with artillery, as many people will know, but no tracking. So weak tank, no drones to deal with frigates. If stuff gets too close, you jump with your micro jump drive, because you will not be able to kill them. Medium skill requirements, and I used two fits for this. I used a autocannon fit with afterburner and micro jump drive. That's the one that I had the most fun with. And there's the artillery micro jump drive one for people who just want to snipe. Decent ship at medium range with autocannons, and it is very satisfying with artillery, but I would not recommend it for missions. Then we go to the Harbinger Navy issue. Right here. So the Harbinger Navy issue, I'll put them above the other one, is a faction battlecruiser. It is a beam laser sniper, and yes, I would still advise to put a jump drive on this to get the hell out if you need to, or to just sit at range. This has an average tank. Skill requirements are low. So this is a beam sniper with a 10 MN micro jump drive armor tank fit. So this is a straight up upgrade from the Harbinger. It works the exact same, but the tank is better and the DPS is a little better. And then we have the Prophecy. Now the Prophecy is a Tech 1 battlecruiser. It can be used with any weapon system that you can fit in the high slots. It doesn't have any bonus for a specific weapon system. You can use it with lasers, missiles, technically autocannons, hybrid guns. You can go full on weird with this. It has a decent tank, decent DPS, but it is focused on the drones mainly. Now this has a very weird drone bandwidth, like I believe it's 75, so highest DPS output would be, what is it, 2 heavies, 2 mediums and 1 light. So it's a weird bandwidth. Tank is average. Skill requirements low to medium, and the one that I used was a rapid light missile 100 MN armor tanked kiter. The rapid light missiles were fantastic to deal with the small frigates that would come for me. So this has the weirdest drone bandwidth in game, 75 M3, but it performs decently. Then we have the Apocalypse battleship. Now the Apocalypse It's a Tech 1 battleship. It has decent DPS. It has absolutely great range and is a very good sniper. Now the Apocalypse is a sniping battleship. It has weak tank. It needs the macro jump drive to survive. To stay at range. Don't fit this with pulse, it's not gonna end well. So the fit that I tested was a beam sniper 100 MN macro jump drive fit. So this is a very good sniper with a weak tank. Another one that I had to put right next to this is an expensive ship. It's a Tech 2 battleship. Say hello to the Redeemer, if I can find it. Yeah. So this is a Black Ops battleship. So this has decent DPS with beam lasers. Use this as a sniper. It is very expensive for what it does, and it still has a weak tank. Skill requirements being Black Ops are of course high. This is beam laser fit 100 MN macro jump drive sniping essentially. So my conclusion for this is very simple. It's too expensive, get a paladin instead. If you don't have the skills for a paladin, it shouldn't be that far from this point. And then we have the heavy assault cruiser, the Zealot. I gotta be honest, I still use it. I put it in the C tier, sure, but I do have my fun with this. This is actually a fun ship to fly, but I would suggest high skills for this. So this thing has absolutely great DPS. I would of course fit a assault damage control for those close calls. The tank is rather weak. Skill requirements are medium to high, I would say. And I used a pulse 10 armor tank fit on this, because if you fit beams on this thing, you're not gonna have any fitting for tank left. So in my opinion, this is the true definition of a heavy assault cruiser. It is really heavy on the assault. On the DPS, it's a very offensive ship, but it doesn't tank that well. The next one would be the Ferox Navy issue. So the Ferox Navy issue is a faction battlecruiser, and I'm gonna put it maybe in the tier list above the other one. There we go. So this thing has good railgun DPS, and this is a absolutely direct upgrade over the Ferox. The tank is still average, the skill requirements are low. I would use this with a rail fit, and this is essentially a good medium to long range sniper with a decent tank. It does the job. FC, can I bring my Drake? Yes, because it still runs missions to even today. The Drake sits in C tier. It's Tech 1 battlecruiser, and the positives: cheap and a good passive tank. Okay. The DPS is decent. It isn't great. Skill requirements obviously are very low. I tested many fits for this. So a passive heavy missile launcher, heavy missile fit was essentially the classic. I also tested a active heavy assault missile fit with a macro warp drive and a few others. But for the active Drake fits, you would need more skills. It's much easier to fight passive. So this is a good starter. It is not great at anything, but it is average at most things. Next one is another command ship, and that would be the Vulture. The Vulture has a very good tank, can also field 2 command links, of course. The negatives I would say for this one is low DPS. You need to fit rails on this. If you fit blasters, it's a slow ship and you have really short range. So you're only going to be chasing targets for the whole mission. Skill requirements are high. And I used a rail 10mm macro jump drive sniper fit on this. So with a vulture, you will survive. It might take a bit to kill everything, but you will survive. The next one that we have is the Hyperion. Now, the Hyperion I had kind of my own battle with in trying to come up with a good fit, because this thing is apparently very weird. It's a Tech 1 battleship. It has a big drone bay, and it also has decent DPS with the rails. So my main gripes with this are it's hard to fit, it has an average tank, and it requires a bunch of different skills to use well. Like you've got the railguns, you've got the drones, like maybe even sentries. I would say the skill requirements are medium for this one, and the armor railgun sniper is what I went with sentries. This is a jack of all trades, master of none. It is not suggested for new players. Then we come to the Brutix. So the Brutix is, honestly, I love the ship. The Brutix is a good ship. If I don't have everything on the screen here, it's sorry, it's a lot. The Brutix is a Tech 1 battlecruiser. It is a decent sniper with railguns. It has a decent tank, low skill requirements, and I used a rail sniper macro jump drive fit on this one. This is a good starter for mission running. Then we come to the Hurricane fleet issue. This is a faction battlecruiser, and again, this is a straight up upgrade from the Hurricane. Better DPS, better tracking, better mobility, but still very much a sniper. Still a weak tank, and still terrible tracking with artillery. But that being said, you still fit the artillery because your tank is not strong enough to fit autocannons for close range. Low skill requirements, and I used a artillery sniper macro jump drive shield tanked Hurricane fit for this. This is a straight up upgrade from the Hurricane, works the same but just better DPS and actually even better tracking. So then we come to another heavy assault cruiser. Let me find it, the Munin. So the Munin is a heavy assault cruiser, has decent DPS with heavy assault missiles. It has an average armor tank. Don't try to shield tank this for missions, you will not make it. I tried, I failed. So with an armor fit, you can get away with it. It also has a good capacitor. So this has short to medium range, and the skill requirements are high. The fit that I ended up signing off on is the heavy assault missile 10mm dual armor repair unit. Dual armor repair on this one. It needs it. So we have a decent ship, but I would not recommend this for new players. Then we have another battlecruiser, the Cyclone, yeah. Tech 1 battlecruiser, decent TPS, decent tank. I couldn't come up with any clear negatives on this one. Low skill requirements, and I went with a heavy missile launcher 10mm shield tank fit. Good range, decent tank. So this ship is basically, it screams average. It's decent overall. Like there's nothing that stands out, but it's also not bad. Then we have another command ship, and that would be the Claymore. Now the Claymore has decent DPS, decent tank, a good capacitor, and also being a command ship can get you 2 command links. My negatives for this ship are very simple. It is average on everything. It doesn't stand out in any way. Oh yeah, Tech 2 resists. Yay. So high skill requirements, and I tested 2 fits on this, the heavy missile 100 MN fit and the heavy assault missile 100 MN. They both work, but they don't stand out. So this is essentially on the edge between B and C tier. It is not great at anything, but it's not terrible either. Then we have the Stratios. So the Stratios, I would say, is normally used in mostly exploration. It's what the ship does best, but it can also run level 4 missions. It is a ship with a good drone bay, and I only used the lasers to kill stuff that came too close or while I was kiting, because I fit pulse lasers and let the drones do the heavy lifting essentially. The negatives are this has a weak tank, skill requirements are medium, and I used a drone pulse laser 10 MN kiting ship. Emphasis here on the kiting. The tank is weak, so you want to kite. This is great for exploration, but it is possible to run level 4s in this. Then we have the Orthrus. Oh, here. So the Orthrus is a pirate cruiser. This is really good kiting ship, good DPS and good range with the heavy missiles because it gets a velocity bonus. So I would use the light drones for the frigates, which is also positive that it has drones. So it has a decent tank, but do not get webbed. If there's a mission with a lot of frigates, frigates are your priority. You do not want to get webbed in this thing. Medium skill requirements, and I used a shield tanked 10 MN heavy missile kiter. And then next up we have an Edencom battleship. That would be the Thunderchild. So the Thunderchild is a pirate battleship. Well, it's pirate technically, or special. It's in a special zone. It has a great area damage, essentially photon projector, chain lightning. It's, I believe, up to 10 targets if they're in range. This thing has a good tank. The negatives, well, very clearly, it has very low single target DPS, and it is expensive. Skill requirements for this one, I would say, are very, very high. Near perfect skills are needed for this one. You need to have photon specialization, large photon specialization level 4, and preferably Edencom Battleship 5. If you have lower, it will be painful, because your DPS is... It's all about the DPS in this thing. So I used a Afterburner shield tank fit on this. There's not a lot to say about the fit. There's not a lot of ways you can fit this. It is not recommended to use this one solo. This definitely gets better the more Thunderchilds are added. I've used this solo. It is not great. I've also used this with like triple boxing, like 3 of them. Believe me, it is so much fun if you bring more. Or if you have a friend that brings another one. Then this thing shines. and I would even put it in A tier. But solo it is definitely C tier. So then we have the Eagle. Another heavy assault cruiser. This has decent DPS with rails, and if you have high skills you want a challenge, you can try blasters on this. The tank can be a little weak when you're going for blasters because you're gonna go right in the middle of the pick of things, but it's very fun to fly. It is very active to fly with blasters. So this has a rather weak tank. The skill requirements are medium, and I used a 10 mn rail shield tank or a 50 mn blaster shield tank on this. So this is a good sniper with medium skills, and blasters are fun, but only if you have high skills. Then we have a Society of Conscious Thought battlecruiser. The noses. Yes, you can do level 4s in the noses. As much as I personally don't like the ship, it does perform decently. So, no skill requirements to speak of. You can fit this however you like, but not every fit performs the same. I would use autocannons or heavy missiles. Of course, you split your guns or missiles with drones, and I would go for the shield tank because that means you can use all your low slots for DPS. So this is the definition of a jack of all trades, master of none. Skill requirements are none to fly and low to use. Does get better with higher skills. So the autocannon drone 10 mn shield tank fit is what I used, and the heavy missile drones 10 mn shield tank are both great. So this is a great starter. It still definitely requires some skills to do the level 4s. It's decent DPS but not stellar. Honestly, I believe this might be absolutely epic at level 3s. Because you can fit whatever you want on it for level 3s and it will probably still work. Might do testing in the future for that, but no promises. Then we have another battleship, the Abaddon. So the Abaddon is a Tech 1 battleship. It has decent DPS and decent range with beam lasers. This is not a sniper, this is not a brawler. This thing is, I would argue, not in a great state. I wish this was better. It has the sexiest broadside in the game. Its main negatives and problems are it has a bad capacitor and it is slow. It has a bad capacitor. You're looking at 8 lasers that you're constantly going to be firing, and at the same time it has, what was it, 18 engines, and it's incredibly slow somehow. I guess it isn't in the quantity, it's in the quality. Skill requirements, I would say, are medium, and it needs very good capacitor and fitting skills. Make sure your CPU, power grid and all the fitting stuff is up to date for this one. It's not easy to fit. So I have actually made a whole bunch of fits for this. So I have a beam dual armor repair fit for this. This is not cap stable. I also have a pulse dual rep fit for this. Again, not cap stable, also very slow. And then I have a beam laser fit with a single armor repair, but cap stable. The reason it is cap stable is you're using the smallest battleship sized beams. You're not going to go for megas or tachyons on this. You want to go for the smaller ones, and then you can actually get it cap stable. That's the fit I enjoy the most. So this needs excellent capacitor skills and decent DPS with a decent tank. The Rook. I would argue this is the best recon ship that I've tested. It's a combat recon, so it doesn't show up on directional scan. It has a decent tank and good DPS with heavy assault missiles and decent DPS with heavy missiles. But I like the heavy missiles more because you get that much more range with them. It makes it more comfortable to run. So this needs high skills to shine. And I used a heavy assault missile 10mm and a heavy missile 10mm shield tank, of course. So this is a usable recon ship and it will definitely run the mission. After this we have more recon ships, because there are some recon ships missing on this list. The Amar ones. So let's get started with the curse. Now the reason the curse works is drone DPS and kiting. This is a force recon, so this is the cloaky one. This has a weak tank. If you don't kite in this thing you die. High skill requirements, and I used a rapid light missile drone 10mm armor tank fit with this one. This is a decent kiter with drones and supported by rapid light missiles. The rapid light missiles actually allow you to take out certain frigates if they get too close. And then we have the other combat recon ship, the Pilgrim. So the Pilgrim is kind of the exact same almost in how it fits and flies. The only difference is essentially this doesn't show up on directional scan, and you want to fit this with pulse lasers. So this focuses as well on the drone DPS and the kiting, has a weak tank, high skill requirements, and the fit that I got away with is pulse laser, drone, 10mm, armor tank. So decent kiter with drones supported by pulse lasers. And then finally we get to the last ship of the C tier, and that would be the Vedmak. Now the Vedmak is a precursor cruiser. I always have a hard time, is this a pirate faction, is this a faction? I class it more like precursor / pirate faction, but this has a good tank, has a good is a good kiter, and decent DPS. So the negatives are essentially trig negative. They're triangle negatives. All of them have the same one. It is the low initial DPS and the long spool up of the disintegrator. Skill requirements are medium, and I used a 10mm armor tanked kiting Vedmak. So this thing has a low DPS spool, good tank, and is decent overall. It also gets a nice flight of drones. So for me that was the C tier. So now we're gonna move into the B tier. So at the B tier, the first one we have the broadsword. Let me find it. So B tier broadsword. This is a heavy interdiction cruiser. It has great DPS with autocannons at close range, and it has a very good tank. So this ship does not have any drone, none whatsoever. So this relies entirely on the autocannons, which is why artillery on this thing doesn't work, even if it fit. So the fit that I used is an autocannon shield tanked 50mm brawler, macro wardrive. I would say this is a fun and very active ship to fly, Mimata style. You go in and you blast them to pieces. Head on. No fear. So then we have the Absolution. Now the Absolution is another command ship. It gets to the possibility to fit 2 links. It has good range, good DPS, take 2 resistances, and also a strong capacitor. The negatives, and I had to try here, damage locked into EM thermal. It's not as bad as it sounds. The skill requirements are high, and I used a beam macro jump drive sniper fit or a pulse dual repair armor brawler. So this is overall a good ship with good tanking and good damage capabilities. Then we move on to the Armageddon. So the Armageddon is a Tech 1 battleship. It is a good sniper, and you can fit this in so many ways. You can fit it with cruise for sniping, with mid-range with rapid heavies, and it has a very sizable drone bay. I would say this has an average tank, and no, this is not a brawler. I wouldn't go brawling in this. So skill requirements are low to medium because of the missiles plus drones. My favorite was the cruise missile Armageddon, but you can also fit it with rapid heavy missiles. So this is a very versatile ship. It's armor tanked and it's a good sniper, but best used with missiles. Next up is the Devoter. And the Devoter would be a heavy interdiction cruiser. The Amar heavy interdiction cruiser. Recently also got a redesign, new model. I love the new look. This is a good DPS, good tank, and it has a flight of drones to take care of frigates. So the negatives are once again damage locked EM thermal. With Amar ships this becomes a bit of a theme here and there. High skill requirements, and this works with both beam lasers and pulse lasers. I would use a macro warp drive on this one, a 50 MN, and of course a Devoter. Try shield tanking this, it's like Mission Impossible, so this is an armor tank. This is a fun ship and a very tough ship. Next up we have the other hull, the other Mauler hull, the Sacrilege. Now the Sacrilege is a heavy assault cruiser. This thing has an absolutely great tank and good DPS at medium short range. Skill requirements are medium, and I used like 3 different fits here for testing. I've got a heavy missile 10 MN and 50 MN like afterburn and macro warp drive fit for this, and a heavy assault missile 50 MN macro warp drive fit. Because with heavy assault missiles you want to be on top of your target. This is, I would say, a very solid pick, and overall just a good ship. Then we have another heavy assault cruiser, and that would be the Cerberus. So the Cerberus is a heavy assault cruiser with good DPS, decent tank, works with heavy assault missiles and with heavy missiles. So the range on this thing isn't super with the missiles. Skill requirements I would say are medium, and heavy assault missile 10 MN shield tank or heavy missile 10 MN shield tank is what I used for this. So this is essentially a solid pick and a good ship. Then we have the Drake Navy issue. Right there. Now, I'm not ranking these within their tier in terms of good or bad. Like, because I realize the Cerberus versus the Drake Navy issue, you'd probably want the Cerberus over the Drake Navy issue, but they're still all in B tier. If I have to rank them within the tiers, yeah, I mean, at that point I consider it very much opinion based, right? So it's a faction battlecruiser. It has a good tank, it's a Drake, and it has decent DPS, and it can launch a flight of medium drones. The negatives on this thing is it is a slow ship. So skill requirements are low. You've got a heavy missile active shield fit that I use for this and a heavy missile passive shield. It is slow, which is why I didn't consider heavy assault missiles. Might still work. You might get away with an active tank with a micro warp drive and heavy assault missiles, but skill requirements will go up. This is a direct upgrade from the Drake, and this is better in every single way. Then we have the Onyx, another heavy interdiction cruiser. But the Caldari one, I had a lot of fun with this one, I can tell you. It also looks really cool. That's an opinion. But it has a very strong shield tank, and it has good DPS with heavy assault missiles and heavy missiles. The negatives are it does not come with a drone bay. Skill requirements are high, and I tested two fits on this. They both work. They're all awesome. The heavy assault missile 50 MN fit and the heavy missile 10 MN fit. In general, I fit heavy missiles more likely with afterburners and heavy assault missiles with micro warp drives. It's a range issue. So this is a great ship, excellent missile boat with a strong tank. So the B tier is what I call the good tier. Any ship in the B tier is good at what it does. The next ship most definitely is. Like, this used to be an absolute staple, and I really hope it still is, because it should be. We get to the Caldari battleship, the Raven. Like, if you want to get into a battleship and you want to use missiles, this one. Take a Raven. A Raven is fantastic. It is a great cruise sniper. Best used with cruise missiles. It has good DPS and good range. The negatives are, it's a Tech 1 battleship, it has a weak tank, which is why you snipe with it. I used some fits that I had a lot of fun with. If you get into it, I would go for cruise missiles with a sniper like a micro jump drive fit. If once your skills get higher, you can technically fit for a rapid heavy missile MJD fit or a torpedo MJD fit, but your skills would need to be higher. I would say this ship is the go-to for mission running, essentially. Then we have an expensive ship. That would be the Widow. Now, the Widow is a Black Ops battleship. So this thing has good DPS with cruise missiles or rapid heavies. It has also like a fantastic passive shield tank. You can get a lot of hit points out of this one. The negatives are, of course, it's expensive, and I would say the skill requirements being Black Ops are high. So I fit this with a cruise missile passive shield tank. You can also fit this with rapid heavies passive, but your range is going to be a little shorter. I would say this is the best Black Ops for level 4 mission running. Good DPS, great tank, but comes at a price. ISK. Then we have another ship, the Scorpion Navy issue, and that's what I mean with they're not on equal power level, because I value the Widow like actually more like high B tier, whereas the Scorpion Navy issue I would kind of put at low B tier. This is a faction battleship. This has decent DPS, decent tank. Scorpion is an electronic warfare battleship, but it's unique because the Scorpion Navy loses that. The Scorpion Navy actually is a regular DPS battleship. So this thing is slow. Skill requirements are low, and I use the cruise missile passive shield tank fit on this. So I would say this is essentially an average ship with average tank an average DPS, but it will do the mission. It definitely does the mission. It is in the B tier. So then we have, honestly, one of my more favorite ships, the Rogue. Caldari Tech 1 battleship. And this is the ultimate railgun sniper. But if you want to go for high stakes, I've got a blaster fit and I had a lot of fun with it, but I would say that blasters, as in a lot of cases, need more skills. Don't fly blasters if you don't have a lot of skills, but its token use, I would say, is it's a railgun sniper. So this has a weak tank, and the skill requirements, I would say, are medium. And if you go blasters, I would say they're even high. So I used a rail sniper macro jump drive and a blaster macro warp drive. No jump drive on the blaster fit, which is why I would say this is high skills. Also high piloting skills. So this is the ultimate sniper, and if you don't run with the permaban skin, you don't have my respect. Sorry. Pure opinion. So let's fly to the next ship, which would be the Demos. Yeah, here. So the Demos is a heavy assault cruiser, kind of heavy assault cruiser. It is a good rail platform, solid DPS, solid tank. You can also fit blasters on this to go brawling. Now the negatives are something that I had to look very hard for. I would say damage lock thermokinetic, which honestly means that it doesn't really have that much negatives. It's just a good ship. Medium skills, I would say rail macro warp drive or afterburner both work, or basically macro warp drives with blasters if you want to go in at close range. So this is a mobile ship with good tank and DPS. It can get up to a good speed. Then we have another Galenta ship. Technically two, but I'm gonna do them one by one. We have the Myrmidon. So the Myrmidon is a Tech 1 battlecruiser, has good drone DPS, is good kiting ship, rather weak tank if you want to go brawling. I don't see why you should. Your drones do the brunt of your damage. You have low skill requirements, and I used a armor tanked 100 mm kiter. So this is a really good kiter with solid drone DPS. Now the next one is its bigger cousin, or rather the faction version of this, would be the Navy battlecruiser, the Myrmidon Navy issue. So good drone DPS, good gun DPS, that's where it changes from the regular one, and a solid tank. Skill requirements low to medium. Bits that I've used: dual repair blaster, dual repair railgun, and rail 10mm kiting ship essentially. This is a direct upgrade from the Myrmidon. It is better overall, and it is a fantastic ship to fly. Then we have the Megatron. So the Megatron is a Galente Tech 1 battleship. It's a good rail sniper with a weak tank. So low skill requirements, but I would still say that you definitely want to fit it with railguns and a macro jump drive. You want to be able to, you need to be at range essentially. You're not a brawler, you're not a tanker. So this is a good sniping starting battleship. Next up we have the original Space Potato, the Dominics. Now the Dominic's is Tech 1 battleship with good drone DPS, and it really works as a great sniper. You can use this with sentries and just basically kill everything from far, far away. So it has a weaker tank. Low to medium skills, and I used a sentry macro jump drive armor tanked potato. So this is absolutely the oldest potato on the block. Good drone sniper, good starter. Prophecy Navy issue. That would be the next one. Amar faction battlecruiser. This is a lot different from the regular Prophecy in that it focuses on lasers. So it has good laser DPS and decent drone damage. Average tank. It really focuses mainly on the lasers here. So the tank is still too weak for brawling. And it only gets a flight of medium drones. So 50 50 M3 bandwidth, whereas the regular Prophecy gets 75. Skill requirements are low, and this is, in my eyes, a beam laser armor tanked sniper with a drone bay. So this is a Prophecy with a focus on lasers over drones and improved stats. Then we have the Brutix Navy issue. So the Brutix Navy issue is a faction battlecruiser, good sniper, good DPS, decent tank. So the tank is too weak for brawling, I would say, but if you want to go brawl, you're gonna have to make compromises in its DPS. So, and high skills. Low skill requirements for the sniper fits. So I used a rail dual armor repair 50 mega newton macro warp drive fit. Good sniper, decent tank. This is gonna be the longest video I ever make, I believe. Damn. Okay. Yeah, we're not through the B tier just yet. So, Tempest. See all these ships? 110, mate. 110 in the tier list. Tempest. So the Tempest is a Tech 1 battleship. If I can find it here. This thing has good alpha with artillery, and I would say the tank on it is too weak to use autocannons. Medium skill requirements and low skill requirements if you play it purely as a sniper. I used a artillery fit on this, and I armor tanked it, I shield tanked it, both work. So this is a decent, slow-paced mission runner. Then we have, let me just, yeah, the tier list is too large. Maybe, yeah, I can zoom out a bit. Next up we have the Panther. So the Panther is a Black Ops battleship. It has great DPS, really does, and good application without the cannons, and it has a average shield tank. This thing is expensive, low DACA with artillery, and high skills needed. With artillery, really high skills needed. So skill requirements are high, and I used a autocannon shield tank fit on this thing. It is essentially still a good mission runner. It's B tier, it's a good mission runner. But it is not worth the risk. It's a Black Ops. It's not a mission runner. So then we have the Cyclone Fleet issue. And that's a faction battlecruiser. This thing has good damage good speed, decent tank. The main negatives are it still has Tech 1 resists, and that's all I could find, so this is one of the ships I really like. Low skill requirements, I used 2 fits on this, the heavy assault missile, shield tank, 100 MN fit, and the heavy missile, 100 MN fit. This is the solid mission runner. It's just solid, it's good. Then we have the Praxis. So, the Praxis, a special edition battleship, Society of Conscious Thought. You can fit this however you want to suit your skills. This is a jack of all trades, master of none. Very low skill requirements, but of course skills do make it better. So, in my honest opinion, lasers and cruise missiles feel the best on this thing. I would say this is a great starter for level 4s, but be ready to warp out if you go brawling in this thing, because you don't want to go brawling in this. It's more like a medium to long range ship, essentially. Next up we have the Vindicator. And the reason I put Vindicator in B tier, it's a pirate battleship, is essentially it's not super tanky. It's fun. It's a blast. But it's a pirate battleship, has great blaster DPS, the best webs ever, 90% webifying. Oh man, things just stop. So you can shield or armor tank this, but your tank is average. So the range is short, blasters, and the capacitor definitely needs high skills. So skill requirements medium to high. I used blasters with armor or shield tank and 500 MN after micro warp drive on this thing. Technically you can fit rails on this thing. I did not test the Vindicator with rails. I'm not sure I've ever seen one in game, because the Vindicator with the web screams blasters. I would say the Vindicator is a blaster Kronos if it had mobility. So, no Bastion. Then we have its sister ship, the Vigilant, the cruiser. So the Vigilant is a pirate cruiser, has a decent tank, good blaster DPS and great webs. Negatives again, Tech 1 resistances, it's not a super tanky ship. Medium skill requirements, and I use this one with blasters. Of course you get the 90% Serpentis web, I suggest you use it. So I used blasters, Webifire, 10 MN armor tank on this thing, and I used also a rail Webifying 10 MN fit on this. Both work. This is a good brawler, solid pick. Then we have the other Sisters of Eve ship in the list. That would be the Nestor. So the Nestor is a pirate battleship, pirate slash faction battleship. I don't want to call Sisters of Eve pirates, but it's good at range with lasers and sentries, and this thing is unique because this thing brings a maintenance bay to the field. You can actually refit on this, but that if you're solo, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so you cannot refit of yourself. This is not a great brawler. It is kind of a sniper. Medium skill requirements, and I used a beam laser, sentry, 100 MN, macro warp drive, armor tank on this thing. Good sniper, great drone DPS, maintenance bay. Then we have a ship that I very much love to fly in a mission. It is the Orca. This is a industrial command ship. This has great medium drone DPS. If you have high skills or a Tech 2 industrial core, for example, your drone DPS will go over 1000. Good tank, good utility, because all your high slots you can use for whatever you want. Tractor beam, components, some armor or shield repairs, whatever you want for your drones. You other surprises. So the negatives for this, essentially it needs to deploy to get to its DPS, because it uses a core and it uses actually also fuel, heavy water. This warps slow, although the warp is slow, but if you use the macro, if you fit a macro warp drive on this and you use the macro warp drive trick to get into warp, it actually gets into warp quite fast. So the skill requirements are high. It is a Orca. I used a shield 500 MN macro warp drive fit on this. It is a good industrial mission runner, as funny as that sounds, and you get about 1000 drone DPS with good skills. Then we have the Concord ship, the Enforcer. So the Enforcer is a special force recon ship, and you can fit it according to your skills, but I would strongly suggest autocannons or heavy assault missiles. This is a jack of all trades, master of none. It does need good security status. If your security status is terrible, do not touch Concord ships. I guess there's one exception, that would be the Python, but that's not exactly something you want to fly in missions with low security status. Yeah, well, yeah, you get the point. Medium skill requirements, and I use a autocannon shield, heavy assault missile shield bits for this. So this is a good mission runner. Not much to say, it's good. Then we have the Deathless, the Cenotaph. So the Cenotaph is a pirate battlecruiser. It technically is a covert-ops. It can fit a covert-ops cloaking device. So this ship is focused on short range. It has great DPS for short range. It has also a unique weapon system, the breacher pods. So the breacher pods have fairly short range, and I would not use them on anything lower than a battleship, because the smaller your target, the less effective it is. This also comes with a good tank on the ship. The negatives are, of course, it has a short range. The skill requirements, I would say, are medium, plus the skills for the breacher pod, which can actually get it to high skill requirements. I used a autocannon heavy assault missile 100 MN shield tank on this battlecruiser. So this is a expensive but good short to medium range vessel. I don't know what this currently is valued at, because I tested it quite early. And then we have, I would say, I don't know, I kind of want to move this up straight away to the top of B tier. So I would put the Legion between A and B, essentially. If you use the Legion with missiles, and thus it gets a flight of mediums and a sizable drone bay, then I would put it into A tier. If you fit it with the liquid crystal magnifiers subsystem and go for lasers, I would put it very solidly in B tier. Reason being, lasers don't get drones. You can get in trouble with certain frigates that orbit you really fast. So this is a strategic cruiser also. It has a good tank, decent DPS, you can go lasers, missiles get drones. The negatives are the lasers have a hard time tracking frigates because of no drone bay, medium skill requirements, beam and pulse and heavy assault missile / heavy missiles plus drones with 10 or 100 MN afterburners. There's so many combinations and fits you can make with this thing. Most will work. So this is a very versatile ship. Next up, we have something that I had a lot of fun with. And first time I tested this, honestly, I actually had somebody else do the tests for me, because at that point I did not own this ship. It's simply too expensive. But at some point I got a hold of one of these, and I did a fair amount of testing with this. No, I'm not going to tell you where, because you'll come for it. This is going to be the Marshall. Very cheap fit, very cheap chip. So this thing is again a special Black Ops battleship. It's a Concorde ship essentially. You can fit this according to your skills, cruise or torpedo missiles. I would recommend. But I did find out through testing that autocannons on this thing also really work. So this is a jack of all trades, master of none. It needs good security status. And its main negative, I would say, is it's bloody expensive. I got it for about 13 billion. So high skill requirements. I used cruise missiles and torpedoes with 500 MN micro jump drive with actually an exit sign already. It's too expensive. And a 500 MN autocannon shield fit. So this is a good mission runner, way too expensive to recommend, and it might be a gank magnet. Then we have the Phobos. So the Phobos is a heavy interdiction cruiser. It has a good tank and blaster DPS essentially. You may be able to get away with rails as well, but this thing does not have a drone bay, so if you fit rails, make sure you're always at range. Skill requirements are medium to high. And I tested a blaster armor tank 50 MN Mega Newton micro warp drive fit. So this is a solid mission runner, but it does require higher skills. And then we have something that I like to pull out whenever I am able to. That would be the Avalanche. So the Avalanche is a freighter. It's technically a capital ship. So this ship has a few conditions to run missions. As in, it is classed as a capital ship, so it cannot enter acceleration gates. If the mission has a single pocket where you can just warp in and sit, then this thing runs it fantastically. So this is a massive ship. It is large, and it has a really good tank. But its bonuses are focused on auto-targeting cruise missiles or auto-targeting missiles. You can also get away with auto-targeting heavy missiles, rapid heavy missiles. But then your range is a lot worse, and you don't really move, so you want your range. I can get about 1340 DPS out of this with Legion auto-targeting cruise missiles, I believe. The negatives, of course, are it's slow, it cannot enter acceleration gates. And if you use auto-targeting cruise missiles, you have no control of what your missiles will hit. If there are triggers, that's what they'll hit. So, for the skill requirements, I would say they're high. I do not recommend you fly this with any lower than level 4 upwell freighter. You're not gonna like it, your DPS will be low. So I used auto-targeting cruise missiles on this thing as a fit, with a shield tank, of course. And it's the only capital that can run a mission in high sec. Then we get to the Sin, another Black Ops battleship. Still so many to go, mate. Oh, okay. So the Sin. It's a good sniper with drones and railguns. It has good DPS actually. It's an average tank and a very expensive ship. Skill requirements are high. So I used a drone, railgun, armor, micro jump drive fit on this thing. This is a good mission runner, but it is honestly too expensive to really recommend. Drekavac. We have Drekavac next. So this is a precursor battlecruiser. It's a Triglavian battlecruiser. It has a good tank. It's a good kiter. It has good DPS. It has all the negatives as well of the trigs. Low initial DPS and long spool up of the disintegrator. Skill requirements medium. And I used a 100 MN dual armor repair fit for this one. Good DPS, good tank, good speed. Then we have another command ship, and that would be the Astarte. So the Astarte has a good tank, good DPS with blasters and with rails. Can also get you 2 command links. I didn't really find any glaring negatives here, other than maybe damage lock, but high skill requirements, and I used a rail 50 MN armor tank fit and a blaster 50 MN armor tank fit. Both work, they're both fun to fly, so this is a solid ship, great DPS overall, good tank, you can snipe, you can brawl. Next up, we have the Typhoon. So the Typhoon is a Tech 1 battleship. And there are so many ways to fit this ship. I would suggest using cruise or rapid heavy missiles on this. But you can do whatever, it all works essentially. Its negatives are it's a limited tank. Low to medium skills, so you can armor tank this, you can shield tank this, cruise, rapid heavy missiles, but for torpedoes I would use higher skills. Very versatile ship, good DPS, also good drone DPS. It has like a 100 MN, I believe, 100 megabits or 100 M3 bandwidth, and you can armor or shield tank this. So the last one for the B tier, yes, it can actually happen, is the Maelstrom. The Maelstrom, I just love the Maelstrom. Tech 1 battleship, good DPS with autocannons, great range and alpha with artillery. It has a weak tank. The artillery fit needs a micro jump drive, and the autocannon fit I would really suggest having high skills. I used a artillery micro jump drive shield tank fit on this and a autocannon afterburner shield tank fit. So this is essentially a fantastic gun platform with a weak tank. So that was the B tier. Okay, so here we are with the A tier, which is the tier that I would call great, fantastic ships. So we have the Apocalypse Navy issue. So this is a faction battleship and it is a direct upgrade from the Apocalypse. It is a good sniper with beams and you can actually get away with pulse with decent mid-range damage as well. This is an average tank and not a good brawler. So low skill requirements for the sniping fit with beams, and I would say medium skill requirements for the pulse fit. I used a pulse 500 MN micro warp drive armor fit and a beam sniper fit with a micro jump drive and afterburner armor tank. It's good sniper, straight upgrade from the Apocalypse. So then we have the Armageddon Navy issue. This is again a faction battleship. It is good drone DPS supported by lasers or missiles. This I would say plays best as a mid to long range ship. Still not a brawler, decent tank. And the laser versus have damage lock is wow. Medium skill requirements, and I used a beam or pulse 100 mn armor tank fit, or a rapid heavy missile or cruise missile 100 mn armor tank fit. So very versatile ship. You can use heavies or sentries, lasers or missiles. Excellent sniper. So then we have a command ship, the Nighthawk. Now, the Nighthawk, I don't have much negative to say. It has an excellent tank. It can bring 2 links to the table. It has good DPS. Not great DPS, good DPS. But the skill requirements are high. And I used a heavy missile launcher passive shield tank fit for this. This is a great command ship with good tank and good DPS. This is a mission running staple, I would say. So, speaking of mission running staples, we're in that category now. So, the Raven Navy issue. Faction battleship. Fantastic cruise missile sniper. Good DPS, good range, and where the Navy issue differs from the Raven, like from the regular one, is one key aspect. It gets an extra bonus to missile application. And believe me, it is very, very helpful. So, decent tank, low skill requirements, but if you want to fit torpedoes on this thing, I would say medium skills. Like with most fits, if you go torpedo, you need to have better skills because you'll be closer in, you'll have to tank more, you're gonna get hit more. So I used a cruise missile sniper or a rapid heavy missile macro jump drive fit. I also tested the torpedo macro jump drive fit, but that was not the best one. I would say this is the go-to for mission running, even better than the Raven. Next up, we have a strategic cruiser. And that would be the Tengu. Now, the Tengu has a excellent tank, like hardly anything can touch this thing. Great DPS with missiles, both with heavy assault missiles and even heavy missiles. I get about, 640 DPS with heavy missiles at a range of 70 plus. So, I mean, that is nice. So you also have the option to use hybrid guns. I did test a blaster fit. That was not as much fun because you end up chasing your targets. The main negative for the Tengu would be it cannot launch any drones. Skill requirements, I would say, are rather high. In terms of fits, it's a strategic cruiser. I have tried basically all the fits I could come up with. I used rails, blasters, heavy assault missiles, heavy missiles. I wouldn't suggest rapid light missiles though. Range is short and you have this nice reload. So excellent tank, many fits, many versions, and they all run well. I would say for PvE on a Tengu, I recommend missiles. And then we're moving into another strategic cruiser. The Proteus, the Galanter one. So, same thing. Very versatile ship. Good tank. Great stuff with rails and drones. You can focus on the railguns or on the drone DPS. There is the option to fit blasters, but with blasters you need your micro warp drive because you will be chasing your targets. So this thing needs skills and it has a high skill requirement. So 50 MN railgun and a 50 MN drone railgun is what I used. The Proteus is very much armor tanked, so this is a great mid to long range kiter, and blasters for the chasers in here because short range. So then we have yet another strategic cruiser. That would be the Loki. So the Loki, same thing, excellent tank, good DPS with missiles, good DPS with projectiles. This gets 5 lights or 4 medium drones that it can launch essentially. This ship also needs high skills. You have a autocannon or artillery 100 MN version that I used, or you have a heavy missile launcher 10 MN, and I suggest shield tanking your Loki for PvE. This is an excellent tank, has many fits, many versions, they all do well. I would suggest PvE, if you wanna chill, use the heavy missiles and the autocannons. Then we have another heavy assault cruiser, and that would be the Ishtar. So the Ishtar is for most people not exactly an unknown ship. This has great drone DPS and great drone application, good tank, good kiter, and you have the option to use guns. So the negatives are it relies a little heavy on the drones, sure, but you can work around it. You have medium to high skills required, and my go-to fit for the Ishtar is a shield tanked railgun 10 MN drone fit. This is just a great heavy assault cruiser. It is overall a fantastic ship, and I would definitely recommend this one. So then we go for another potato. We go for the Dominic's Navy issue. So this is a faction battleship with fantastic bonuses to drones and hybrid guns. Not one or the other, both. So this has a good tank, it's good at brawling, or good at sniping if you want to fit like a sniper. The only negatives that I could find for this is Tech 1 resists, and it ain't the Marauder. This is one of my favorite ships to run, really, Dominic's Navy issue. When I'm solo, because I use the Blaster Brawler, in fleets I would just never reach my targets. So skill requirements medium to high. I have a Blaster Brawler 500 MN armor tank fit, or a railgun micro jump drive sniper fit that I can use. So this thing is essentially, what if you gave a Dominic's great guns as well? Then you get this beast. So absolute recommend for me, Dominic's Navy issue. Next up is a command ship, and that would be the Galente EOS. Fits 2 command links, great drone DPS, good tank, good kiter. So this has high skill requirements, and I used a double armor repair 100 MN armor tanks kiter. So in my opinion, this is the best drone command ship, and it is a great measure runner. I would recommend. Then we go for the Megatron Navy issue. So this one is a faction battleship. It has a decent tank. It is a great rail sniper, good DPS, and it is a straight up upgrade from a regular Megatron. It only has an average tank and Tech 1 resistances, but the skill requirements are, I would say, medium. And I used the rail armor tank 500 MN fit on this, So this thing is very much a sniper, and I've had several people use this fit, like my fit, as a mission runner, and I've only gotten good feedback, so this thing is definitely a very good mission runner. Recommended. Also, direct step in the line in the race for the Kronos. So don't have skills for the Kronos the Marauder just yet. Take this one instead. You will not regret it. It's also cheaper. But yeah. Next up would be the Sleipnir. Another one of my favorite ships. Like, there's not much bad I can say about the Sleipnir. It's a command ship. It has a good tank and big DPS with autocannons. Good alpha with artillery as well. Can use double the command links. And in terms of negatives, I wrote down that I'm still trying to find one because I cannot come up with a good one. I cannot find it. I'm sorry. So, high skill requirements, and I used a autocannon 50 MN micro warp drive double link fit on this, or a artillery 50 MN shield tank fit on this without links, because artillery just required that little bit more fitting. Great DPS up close with autocannons, satisfying alpha with artillery. Recommend. Next up, we have the Vagabond. And that's a ship that's not just good for missions. Any Abyssal runner will know this one. Heavy assault cruiser. Also a big DPS with autocannons. Very fast ship. Good tank. It has the option for artillery. You can actually run missions with artillery fits as well. I'm still looking for the negative on this ship. Skill requirements are high. You have several fits you can run. I have an autocannon 50 MN, an autocannon 10 MN, or an artillery 50 MN shield tank mission runner for this. So this is just a great ship. Good DPS, good tank, good speed. Recommend again. A tier is the great tier. Which means that we have more to go through. So we still haven't talked about the Typhoon fleet issue. So the Typhoon fleet issue is a faction battleship, and you can fly armor or shield. Both work really well. You can use cruise missiles on this, torpedoes or rapid heavy missiles, depending on what you like. But the main difference with this one is you can also get away with fitting autocannons. You can actually use this with autocannons as well. It has bonuses for it. So this is a jack of all trades and a master of none, but it is one of the best jacks of all trades and masters of none. So medium skill requirements, and yeah, I'm not gonna list all the fits because it's probably like 10 different fits that I have at this point, and I'm probably not done yet. Very versatile ship. You can really fit as you like, even without the cannons. Artillery I wouldn't suggest, but it's possible. It works. Then we have the Tempest fleet issue. So the Tempest fleet issue is a navy battleship, a good artillery alpha, great autocannon DPS, can do armor as well as shield. The only negative I could find is that this thing is not exactly a Varger. Medium skill requirements, and yeah, autocannon, armor or shield. I would fit, if you want to go artillery, I would go for shield though. I found that the artillery armor one just isn't that powerful. So this is a upgrade from the Tempest, better overall tank and a higher DPS. And then we come to another fantastic, incredibly heavily used Abyssal cruiser, Agila. you can also run missions in this thing. It's a pirate cruiser. It gets juiced up medium drones as per Gorista's trademark. Has a very good shield tank and missile support. I consider the missiles in the Gila to be pure support. So the negatives are it's just a cruiser, but low skill requirements. The fit that I almost always default to for mission running is the rapid light missile passive shield tank. So it is also a very cheap and solid mission runner and has good application with the medium drones. And then next up we have the alligator. So this thing, I'm sorry I didn't show it. There it is, the Gila in the A tier. Then we have the alligator, which I would say is the pirate battlecruiser for the Goristas. And this thing is, it's essentially a Gila. Exact same drone DPS, exact same drones essentially. Has a good shield tank, and where this one differs is, besides the fact that it's a battlecruiser, not a cruiser, is it gets good missile DPS on top of the good drone DPS. So skill requirements are low, and I used a heavy missile passive shield tank fit with this, similar as I used on the Gila. So this is a solid mission runner, good application with medium drones and good application with missiles. And we'll stick with the Goristas team. We will go straight up to the battleship version, and that would be the Rattlesnake. Now this is a pirate battleship, Goristas. This thing has juiced up heavies / sentries with really great DPS. Good solid shield tank. Good DPS with the missiles on top of the drones. So this is a very good mission runner. Medium skill requirements, and I used a cruise passive shield tank or a rapid heavy missile shield tank. Passive. You can fit this active. I've made a active Rattlesnake fit as well. It does work, but it's a little bit more, well, active. So if you're looking for a good mission runner, this is it. This is definitely the one. But we're not done yet. So then we have the Barghest. So the Barghest is a pirate battleship. It is Mordus Legion. So this thing gets very fast missiles. It comes with a velocity bonus on the missiles, great DPS, iron it cap stable with a micro warp drive, and a good tank, and it's a very good kiter. The main negatives are it's expensive, medium skill requirements, and the fits that I ran with are the cruise, or, well, you can use many fits essentially. Cruise missiles, rapid heavy missiles, or torpedoes all work. I use it with a 500 mN micro warp drive with shields. I have even seen passive tanked fits for this. So with this thing there are options. It is a very good kiter with good and fast missile DPS. Next up, I have a ship that surprised me. Because you may notice that I'm kind of missing a certain Blood Raider ship in my list so far. Yashima's on the bottom, but I would put the Balgorn in the A tier. It was a surprise for me, really. Pirate battleship, Blood Raider. I would say this is definitely a sniper. Great sniper with utility, infrared NOS again, the Blood Raider traits, and a long range webifier. I believe it's like 24 kilometers or maybe more that you can get if you use an expensive web. It also comes with a decent drone bay. It is an Armageddon hull. The main negatives are that it's expensive. I would say medium skill requirements, and I used one fit that worked for me, which was the beam laser, webifier, afterburner, macro jump drive, armor tank. So basically a cookie cutter staple armor tank for me. The jump drive to get the hell out, and the afterburner to still have some mobility and kiting. So this is a solid ship with many utilities, and you have drones and webifiers for taking out the frigates that are annoying. Then we have the Triglavian Tech 2 heavy assault cruiser, the Ikitursa. So this thing comes with a good tank, Tech 2 resist, and it definitely has real good DPS when spooling with good tracking. Also comes with a decent drone bay. Main negatives are the triggers, I would say. You start up with lower DPS at the beginning of your spool, and then it only goes up. So you have high skill requirements, and I used a 50 MN micro warp drive armor tank fit. So for me, this is the best triangle cruiser, and it is overall a solid ship to run. Then we get to the Gizrael, the Angel Battlecruiser. This thing is a blast. Pirate Battlecruiser, high DPS, good range with autocannons. I mean, with my fall off on the barrage ammunition, the long range ammunition for autocannons, I still got about 59 kilometers of range. That's pretty good for medium autocannons. Also comes with great alpha with artillery. You can do both, and it also has a good tank. So medium skill requirements, and I used a autocannon 10 MN shield tank fit or an artillery 50 MN shield tank fit. Good mission runner. I would honestly really recommend this one. It's a lot of fun to fly. Oh yeah, did I mention that it actually gets a decent drone bay as well? And then next up we have everybody's favorite Angel battleship, the Macarial. Now this ship, pirate battleship, high DPS, very good range with autocannons. I would say a decent tank. It is not known to be super tough, but it is very much a kiter and or sniper, and it is a very fast ship. A very fast warper as well, the Angel trait. It is expensive, medium skill requirements, and I've got 3 fits for it. I use an autocannon 500 MN micro warp drive shield tank fit, a autocannon 100 MN shield tank fit, and I used a mission blitz fit, which essentially is a Macarial with a bit lighter tank on it and hyperspatial rigs to just capitalize on the faster warp. It's a blitzer, so warp in, headshot your objective, warp out next mission, and so on. So this is a very good mission runner, and I would 100% recommend this one as well. And then we have another one, another triangle ship. We have the Tech 1 battleship, the Leshak. Precursor battleship, very good tank, very good spool up DPS, decent range, and sizable drone bay. Main negative, slow, clunky, spools. So skill requirements medium to high, and I used a dual armor repair 100 MN on this. There are ways to fit a micro warp drive on here, but you'll have to make some sacrifices here and there. But I would still recommend this ship very much. And then we have like 2 ships remaining for the A tier. We have the Phantasm. Now, the Phantasm is a ship, honestly, I'm still having a lot of fun with. It's a pirate cruiser, it's a Sancha cruiser. It has the Sancha have a few traits, like Sancha ships get a high base amount of capacitor and also great afterburn speed. So this thing has good DPS with lasers and a good tank. I haven't found any negatives for this. I would say medium skill requirements, and I used about 3 different fits for this. I have a beam, tenement, active shield tank fit for this. I also used a beam, tenement, passive shield tank fit for this. Yeah, I used Phantasm with a passive shield tank. But the one I have the most fun with is my Pulse fit. Polarized Pulse, tenement, shield tank. Polarized. It runs all the missions. The only problem is, if you run a mission and it has tracking disruptors in it, you may want to watch out a little more than usual. So this is a very good cruiser and a very fun ship to fly. And you can get away with a polarized fit if you have high skills. Not with low skills, you need high skills. Resist all go to 0, so yeah. And then we have Mr. Nightmare. So, Sancha Pirate Battleship. Again, high amount of base capacitor and great afterburner speed. A good DPS for lasers, good tank. It's a Phantasm but bigger. Medium to high skills, and I used 2 fits for this. I have a Pulse 100 MN shield tank on this. And if you want to snipe, this thing can actually do really well with tachyon beams on it. Like but it's very much a sniper. You don't have tracking with that. Excellent battleship and a very good overall mission runner. So that brings us to the S tier. S for super or synonymous with Marauder. This is very much the Marauder tier. So I'm gonna start up with the Golem. So the Golem has Bastion, as do all Marauders. It's a very good shield tank. It has really good DPS with cruise missiles, rapid heavies and torpedoes. The only negative that I could find, now there's a few negatives. Bastion, it's a positive and a negative, you cannot move. Now the only other negative I would say has to deal with the fact that missiles have travel time. The DPS is not instant as with most other ships it is. So high skill requirements, and yeah, you can fit any type of missile on here and it will do well. So this is definitely the pinnacle of PvE. It is the best Caldari mission ship in my opinion. But if I had to rank Marauders to my preference, I would not rank this as the best one. It's also not the worst, in my opinion. But I love to fly the ship. I like this ship, and you can get away with a very cheap fit on this thing, honestly, and still tank everything. So then we have the Kronos. So the Kronos I would also put in the S tier. It is also a very good armor tank, and the Kronos has absolutely fantastic range with railguns. Very good DPS, of course, with rails. The DPS with blasters is absolutely epic. It's just off the scale almost. The problem is it's a Marauder, so you'll be in Bastion and your blasters have short range. So if everything comes and sits on top of you, blasters are an option. If not, then have fun. I would bring railguns. So skill requirements are high. I have a real 500 MN armor tank fit for this. I can replace it with blasters, but so I would say this is the best Calente mission ship if you want to do the Marauder. So then we have the next one, and that would be the Paladin. So the Paladin is one of my two favorite Marauders. I have two Marauders that I absolutely favor more than all the others. That's an opinion. I do mention it. It's an opinion. Don't feel offended. All Marauders are epic. All Marauders are super. They're all absolutely the best at what they do. So the Paladin kit comes with a very good armor tank, fantastic DPS, and good range with lasers. I can easily get 100 kilometers plus. And that is with the long range ammunition, and not even, I could go longer with radio, but DPS would kinda be bad. It's damage locked, cannot move in Bastion. That's actually one of the benefits of the Golem. You can switch your missiles according to damage type. It's not damage locked. That's a benefit for the Golem, I forgot to mention that. So skill requirements for the Paladin are high. And you can use it as a beam laser sniper or a pulse laser, well, medium to long range one still. So best Amar mission ship, pinnacle of laser PvE. And then we have what I would consider my personal favorite. This is my favorite. This is my my little one. The Varger. So, very good shield tank again, it's a Marauder. Great DPS and very good range with autocannons. I don't have a problem with autocannons with the Varger. I know they nerfed the fall off a little bit lately, but I didn't really notice it. It's still fantastic. Something maybe not everybody knows is with autocannons, even if you go, you hit full DPS if everything is perfect at your optimal, and your DPS at the edge of your fall off is still like 50% of your DPS. You can actually hit stuff beyond fall off with autocannons, with projectiles. It's just gonna do very little DPS, but you can still hit. So skill requirements are high, and I'm tested two fits for the Varger, which would be the autocannon shield tank macro warp drive fit, which is for me the staple for missions, because the artillery sniper, it works, but it does not feel satisfying on a Varger. The tracking is just not good. This is definitely the best Minmatar ship, the best Minmatar PvE mission ship. And that brings us to the last ship on this tier list. Yeah, the end is in sight. Almost makes me happy. The newest one of the bunch, the Babaroga. Now, it took me a while to acquire one, but I did my testing and I have to admit, it's a very, very good ship. But I do not consider this one the best Marauder, or even second best or third best. The reason is very simple. It's a trig ship, it suffers from trig stuff, it's a very good, it has a very good tank, and it has good to absolutely bloody stupendous DPS. So you can just spool and spool and spool and spool, but all your targets will be dead long before you reach set DPS. So it has a lower DPS at the start of the spool, and that is where the negatives for me kind of start. You're never gonna reach your potential in missions. You're just not. And you start with a lot lower DPS than the other Marauders, and the other Marauders hit with full power with every shot, while this thing always starts low and doesn't really reach its potential before your target dies. But that aside, it's a Marauder. It has, if you spool up all the way, the highest DPS there is on a battleship. And it looks so cool. But it will come down in price, I hope, because it's currently way overpriced. But it's high skill requirements, and I came up with two fits for it: a single armor repair fit essentially, and a dual armor repair fit that is surprisingly my cheapest Marauder fit on my most expensive Marauder hull. And it does great. So this is the pinnacle of PvE, this is the pinnacle of triangle ships for missions, and yeah, that was the tier list. So I'll scroll a bit because 110 ships, a lot of ships. So let me just zoom out a bit. Can I get it on one screen? Yeah, here we are. Barely. So this is all of them. This is the full tier list. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far into the video, this has been probably the longest video I'll ever make. And if you want to give me more suggestions, feedback, or your opinion, please do so in the comments down below. If you want to access the spreadsheet, it will be down in the description, as well as my Twitch channel at twitch.tv Lord Surtr, and my in-game channel Surtr Rising, and my Discord Surtr Rising, which feel free to join and come hang out. It's a fun place, so like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you next time.